Hello and welcome back to All Things Trentside. We're back with episode 3. Hope you enjoyed the first 2 episodes. If you're coming back for more content, but if you're not and you're new to the channel, this is a new podcast that's dedicated to all things Forest, and hopefully this is, a bit of light-hearted fun, just why Forest and football isn't on. Hopefully it's been a little bit of a gap, but as I say, as soon as football comes back properly, I'm going to make sure I do more videos, more match reviews. But this is just to test the waters, really, to see how people react to it, if people enjoy the content I'm putting out. But it's very, very difficult times. Sometimes you don't think there's a lot to talk about, but there is, and that's the main aim of my video today. So today I'm going to talk about player of the season. So I'm filming this on the 3rd of May. So, of course, if the season had gone ahead as planned, Forest would have finished their championship campaign at home to Stoke yesterday. You would have seen the Sky Sports simulation that they did on Football Manager, where Forest were a goal away from getting automatic promotion, virtually. And even Football Manager knows that Forest would still somehow mess that up. It was pretty ironic. It got you very invested as well. I just remember watching. I was like, come on, we need a goal here. We get the penalty. Da Costa took it. Would not have happened in real life. Grabban would have took it, but with his penalty record, he probably would have missed anyway. But no. But in all seriousness, it was good bit of fun, and hopefully, if that situation does arise when football comes back, we maybe can go one better this time. But yeah, but as I was saying, it would have been Forest's last game of the season, and we would have been crowning a new player of the season. Player of the season, if you don't know what it is basically normally Forest will put a tweet out probably a week or 2 before the game with a montage of who's performed well and who's done well over the season, and let the fans vote for who they think deserves to be number 1. So last season it was Joe Lolly. Not surprised. What a fantastic season he had. I think it was 11 goals and 11 assists, 13 assists, something like that. I don't know exact numbers, but it was terrific. It was up there, shows why people were interested in him. Somehow we kept hold of him. But yeah, so this video I'm just going to look over really, who'd have been the contenders. I'm going to give my opinion on who I would give to the player of the season, and talk about you guys as well. I did a poll on Twitter, Thanks for everyone who voted. If you are listening, you did vote for that. I really appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado. So obviously when you get to player of the season, you obviously normally have your front runners, really. So I'm just going to go people who would have been gunning for the crown. Obviously, you never know in football. I believe it was who was it? Was it Lazio last season? Is it Liverpool hijacked the vote so Lucas would win it? So you never know. Some people might have their favourite. Albert Doma, really. For example, you've seen a lot of people on Twitter give him love. They might have just thought, oh, should we let Albert win it? Everyone loves him. He's such a nice guy. The club can't, be like, oh no, you're not having Albert win it because he's not done nothing else either. It's what the fans want, so that's who deserves it. But the 5 front runners, which would have been the favourite. So first of all, I'm going to go for the man who's stabilised Forest at the back and between the sticks, and that's Bryce Samba. So when Bryce first came, people, I think we'd signed Muric, Pantilimon was still at the club, I think Luke Steele was still at the time, Jordan Smith, and we were signing a keeper. So this was our fifth keeper. Muric had a shocker, but people just thought that was maybe just nerves, or every goalkeeper has an off day. So we thought, why are we signing another keeper for? It's wasting money. Myself included, I thought the same. Especially because I don't think Pantilimon was a great keeper going forward, but he definitely would have, been more solid than Muric if he'd have carried on being, shocking. But I don't care now that we got another keeper. Even if we'd have been linked with him and paid 20 million at the time, I'd have obviously been like, Jesus Christ. But he's been worth every bit of money we've paid for him now. He's commanded the box. He's probably been the best keeper in the league. That just better than Casillas, because obviously, Casillas has had a few wobbly moments, coming from the club he's come from as well. Samba got relegated last season. People were thinking, is this guy even any good if he can't, cut it in the French league, which compared to, You know, the Premier League is what people call a farmers' league. You know, PSG just run away with it. So if this bloke can't do it there, you know, how's he going to cut it in the Championship? But no, he's come in and done tremendously. You know, he's shored us up. You know, he's had a few shaky moments, but again, what keepers don't, but it's how he's reacted. You know, he interacts with the fans as well. I think it was the Millwall game. He come out and said, you know, he held his hands up. I'm sorry. You know, I'll move on to it. You know, he did. You know, the Leeds game, makes a save and punches off the line. You know, he's been worth his weight no matter what. For every, one mistake he's made, you know, he's gained us 5-10 points. You know, we've not had probably this much of a solid keeper since De Vries. I was gutted when he left. You know, we finally found a keeper, because we've had some absolute dross since De Vries left. It's about time we had a decent keeper, so whoever found him, you know, probably owe him a pint, really. You know, it was the start of building a foundation for what would be a great team this season. So definitely one of the front runners. You know, very colourful character on and off the pitch. I mean, I've never known a keeper to have 7-8 red cards at this point of the season. You know, it's stats that, you know, Jack Colback would be proud of. You know, and a midfielder, but you know, for his time wasting and, you know, riling up opposition fans, he's been worth his weight in gold, really. And hopefully, you know, he'll be playing top flight football again with a Forest jersey on. So the second person that I'm going to put in the running that would have been is the man that then lines up on the right side of Bryce Samber's defence, Matty Cash. I mean, I think you run out of superlatives to describe Cash this season. You know, he's been phenomenal. I remember when he first started against West Brom, and I thought, why is he playing Cash right back? You know, not that I thought he'd do a bad job, but, you know, Cash was more of a midfielder for me. You know, I thought at the time as well, I wasn't a big fan of Amiobi. You know, I wanted him to prove me wrong. I just thought he'd come from a club that, no disrespect to Bolton, had just gone down. He's always been, you know, living off his brother's name kind of thing, you felt, with Amiobi. So I thought it could have been Lolly one side, Cash the other, you know, performing a great partnership. But he's starting there, and I thought, why are we doing this? We've both brought Carl Jenkinson in. I mean, look how that turned out. So again, I would prove wrong. But I'm not a negative fan, by the way, as well. You probably listened to the first 3 videos, and I've not really had much to say about Forest that's good. But I think I'm is it pessimistic's the right word? Where, you know, I'm unsure until it happens, and then, like I say, I'd hold my hands up now. But yeah, Cash was starting there. And he scored against West Brom. I think it was the first goal West Brom scored. He did, you know, get done for a nice bit of skill. But other than that, how many people can say that they've got past Matty Cash this season? Very, very few can say that. He's been a revelation in that right back role, and that's why AC Milan were tracking him. You know, AC Milan don't track, you know, any old player. I mean, saying that, they did track someone from Wigan, but he must have been doing well, Anthony Robinson. You know, no disrespect to him, but, you know, all jokes aside, you know, what AC Milan just don't pick out random players in the Championship because they want not want to make the numbers. You know, Matty Cash this is a big club, you know, kind of like Forest really. Had a great history, but have fallen on hard times recently. But, you know, they needed someone to, you know, rejuvenise that. You know, a nice English youth player, you know, up and coming. I mean, if Cash has his way, you know, and carries on this, he might be lying out for Poland. But, you know, I say AC Milan do not, you know, turn their attentions just to anybody and willing to spend that amount of cash that was being talked about. You know, of course, West Ham, Southampton, Everton were all interested as well. So he was doing something right. And people were sceptical, you know, turning a right winger to a right back. But everything he's done has been superb. Really, you know, has he had a bad game this season? You know, crucial goals as well. You know, the goal against West Brom. You know, he's scored a few. You know, he can shoot as well. He's just adapted that game and taken him to the next level. And again, like Samba, I really hope that he's playing top flight football soon, but in the red shirt, because probably Cash has been our best right back we've had now since Chris Gunter. You know, look how that turned out. I don't want another Gunter situation. I do want to keep Cashy, and hopefully, you know, come from the academy as well. He'll be racking up the appearances, kind of like Ben Osborne, but hopefully we can go one better and take him to the Premier League. But yeah, phenomenal season from Casher. So the third player I'm going to go for, again, it's another defender. I never thought in my time of supporting Forest, 3 top runners for the Player of the Season award would have been defenders, because we've always had a bit of a shaky defence. But I'm going to go for Joe Worrell, another homegrown lad, one of our own. He knows what it's like to support Forest. He's been through the tough times, now he's here kind of, shades of just a bit before my time, the Walker and Dawson partnership. Now it's the Dawson and Worrell partnership kind of thing, arm around the shoulder, this is what you're doing, lad, this is what you need to push forward, Dawson would be saying. Future captain material, he's had the captain's armband on a few times, but as soon as Dawson and Watson, have kind of paved way, retired and gone into their whatever they decide to do, I think Worrell will take over that role. And again, it's the same with it. I've said it about the 3 people, the 2 people, before Worrell. I hope, taking his boyhood club to the Premier League. He will play in the Premier League one day. I do believe that. But I hope it's with Forest. But he's just adapted his game. I think, Karanka sent him out on loan to Rangers last season. And at the time, people thought, would you have done that? It was a split decision from the fans, but what a decision it was in the end. It really helped him adapt his game, learning off, one of the greatest English midfielders this country's ever produced. I played a few European games, played in a competitive division, going for titles. It's just giving that experience under his belt, just to, come back Forest, stronger person, and showing if he did want a future at this club, the club he loves, he'd have to fight for it, and he's done that, It's always, I think for Forest it was 3 centre-backs to pick from, I think it was Dawson and Worrell at the start of the season, then he went to Worrell and Figueiredo, but Worrell's been the one that, stayed there really. He's, again, really had a bad game this season, not come under a lot of criticism. So just to have him in the ranks again, a homegrown lad from the academy, who loves this club, is another reason why this team's been such a success. He knows what it's like. He wants to win with this club. He's not just there to pick up a wage. He's there to take his club to the Premier League, and again, another reason why he's in the running. I do normally probably put the top 5 who I think would be in the running. So my 4th pick would be Ben Watson. I mean, what a turnaround, If someone had said to me this time last season that Ben Watson would have been in the Player of the Season running for Forest, I would have laughed in your face, really. I'd have been like, not a chance, Colback's coming back, Ben Watson's leaving, whether or not he'll have his contract terminated or we'll move him on, then that's I don't care as long as he's not near my club, because he just looked like he didn't have the legs, but somehow Sabri's turned him into a midfield that doesn't go forward, really. He just sits in the midfield, keeps it ticking over. I think he was very wrongly used. I think because I've seen him quite a lot, he was like trying to get back and forth, and he's 33, 34 now. He just didn't have the legs for it, and I think that's why many fans were frustrated. And I think maybe he lost a bit of confidence as well, obviously, with the fans getting on his back. But now he's the first name on that team sheet, one of the first names. Skipper, he stepped in from Dawson's role when Dawson hasn't played, made it his own, and now he's an integral part of that defensive midfield, and hopefully, he will sign a new contract. I know he's out of contract this summer, so Forest needs to, offer him an extension. And I would never have said that a year ago. Everyone would have probably agreed with me, Maybe there might have been a small minority who probably would have said no, I can't remember who tweeted it, but I remember someone, whether or not they were being serious or not, they tweeted in the pre-season last season, this will be Ben Watson's season, just you watch. And it was. So, yeah, he's been terrific though. He's chipped in with a few key goals, won us, I think, at least 4 extra points, the goals against Brentford and Barnsley at home. It's his passing, his range of passing, passes that weren't happening last season, try to crossfield ball, it go out, or he'd shank it and it just go to the opposition. He finds his man 9 out of 10 times, keeps the defence running over. His discipline's quite good as well, because I remember younger Ben Watson was a bit, I wouldn't say ill-tempered, but did like a booking and did like a tackle, but I think his discipline's been phenomenal this season as well. So for that reason, that's why he's one of the front runners. I think the final front runner for me would have been the main man this season, the opposite end of the pitch from Bryce, Lewis Grabban. God, how many times have we seen on Twitter or, Facebook, Sky Sports, how many times Grabban has saved us, his goals, how many points he's won us this season due to the fact how many games he has been scoring in. Kind of situation, I can't remember who it was, last season or this season, there's a player, I can't quite think off the top of my head, but, if they didn't have their goal contributions or their goals where they would be in the table, and Forest would be a lot lower down without Grabban's goals, He's won as, a derby winner, most recently the equaliser against Borough. Just that's a few, two I can name off. I mean, I couldn't name all of them, but we definitely would be nowhere near that top 6, even top 2 even, if it hadn't been for his goals. I think he's quite overlooked as well, as much as I think I'm going to do a video on my Forest team of the decade and I explain why he doesn't make it in, spoiler alert, but I'll explain why at the time. But I do think he's overlooked. It's kind of contradicting what I've just said there. I've been overlooked, but he is overlooked as the fact is the goals he scored. Not a bad ratio. For probably one of the best Championship strikers of the past decade there has been. He's up. I think he has scored the most goals in the Championship. We can't quite cut it in the Premier League. You see that. He's like Dwight Gale, but he was never really given a proper chance. So again, it'd be nice to see if we did go up, if he could do that. He's getting on a bit now, so he probably wants to prove himself. He's got one last chance. I don't think the Sunderland documentary painted him in a very good light either. So, but obviously Forest it could be a bit of a loose cannon, but as long as he does the business on the pitch, that's all that matters to me. And he's in an elite group who scored a winner against Derby, so I don't care, unless he did go and join Derby. Lewis Grabban will always have a place in my heart because he's scored a winner against our arch rivals. So they're probably my top 5 picks. I'll go in at the end of the video who I think, who I'd vote for personally and why. Now I'm just going to go for probably the people, the outsiders, who aren't going to be everyone's first pick, because they haven't had as strong seasons, but they still have had a strong season. So I'm going to go for last year's player of the season, and I'm going to go for Joe Lolly. So another fantastic season from his own standards. If you subscribe to The Athletic, and if you're not already, I would give it a read at least, or try and get your hands on it. The article he did for The Athletic, he even admits by his own standards he wasn't great at the start of the season, but he was playing with it. They have a broken toe or a fractured toe. He had a foot injury of some sort, so he wasn't hitting that top level. But he's chipped in again with, like everyone this season, he's chipped in with a few important goals. The influential performance against Luton, especially that second goal, that was prime Joe Lolly, wasn't it? Cuts in on his left, unstoppable finish. But he's got his assists as well. Him and Amiobi work well together. Play on either wing sometimes. If you want to switch up the game plan a bit, he'll go to the left. The transfer speculation didn't really faze him. I don't think he was fazed by it. He didn't throw his toys out the pram. I think all around Joe Lolly, he's my favourite player. So it looks like I'm just going to be singing his praises, but I think generally I'd say it anyway. But he just seems like such a down to earth lad. Like he's on Twitter. He just seems like a normal lad who's just doing a job playing football. Like. He gets involved with politics. He's interactive on Twitter. Football manager. He's a good lad. And he didn't throw his toys out the pram when he wanted to leave. And he's carried his form on. It hasn't been as scintillating as it was last season, but that's because the bar was set so high. Sometimes you can't do it back to back, but just because the bar hasn't been as high this season doesn't mean he's not performed well. So it would have been a very interesting shout. To vote for, I'd say it would have been one of the dark horses for me. And that brings me on to the next person who I think would have been one of the outsiders for player of the season, and another player who's made me eat my words this season, and that's Sammy Amiobi. So again, I remember when we was going to sign him, I was thinking, why are we've got money, go and invest in a good winger. Why are we getting some, I don't think he watches this, but if you do listen, Sammy, I don't mean it now, but a reject from Bolton, a lad who's 6'4", who can't, it kind of just reminds me of a horse sometimes, the way he runs, because he's just got long, gangly legs. And then you watched him in the first few games of the season, you thought, you know what, like, these gangly legs can actually do something, He beat a few Leeds players with a terrific bit of skill, He's chipped in with some important goals. Again, the Leeds goal is up there, I think he scored the second against Luton, or was it the first, to kickstart us on the way to the victory, It was unlucky against Derby, so he's proved people wrong, And I do take back what I said about him. I think this is where my views are, I'm on the fence with. If we don't go up, or the season gets voided, then I'd give him a new contract. I'd let him, see how he does next season and then go from there. If we went up, then that's where I'd be a bit, what would I do? But I think I touched on it in my last video, or the video before, with it was either him or Albert Adoma who would have got picked. So I think even if we did go up, I think he'll still get a contract extension. He's been such a key figure for us this season. So definitely another player who's in the running. He's not done bad. He's link-up play with Grabban as well. I think Grabban wouldn't have scored as many goals as he would have done if it had been for Sammy. So again, another player who's a dark horse. So now I'm going to go on to the best of the rest. People who probably have played well, but it'd be a surprise if they did win. So the first person I'm going to go for is Yuri Ribeiro. I don't think he's obviously, front runner for the title or a dark horse for it, but you never know. But he has been terrific this season. Forest have been looking for a decent left back for probably since, a permanent left back since obviously Julian Bennett, but if not, since like Nicky Shorey on loan. Bojan Jokic was a good shout as well, but we don't have many good left backs. Same with goalkeepers. We've not been blessed in them departments until obviously this season. I think Ribeiro, he's been fantastic. Bombs up and down. Sometimes, can be a bit, lethargic in defence, but normally energetic. Bombs forward. Can't remember how many assists he's got this season, but he's not done bad. He's settled in. Pushed Jack Robinson in the end. I mean, Jack Robinson now can probably text Yuri Ribeiro and say thanks, because if you hadn't been playing so well, I'll probably still be in the Championship and now I'm in the Premier League. But we needed that left back. We need someone who could get forward, and Yuri's done that. Then we'll make it his compatriot and Joe Worrell's centre half partner, Figueiredo. It was a while where he never looked like he played for Forest again. Was it he had a dead leg and then it turned into a blood clot and he didn't play? Like people were saying, like, how is he not playing still? It's been like 3 months and he only had a dead leg. But yes, I think Dorse got injured, so Figs come in, and since then, he's made that position his own. Dorse hasn't managed to get back in the squad. His partnership with War has been great. He's popped up with some crucial goals. I think they got the winner against Wigan. His first goal for the club against QPR set us on the way for that 4-0 victory. So definitely another player who's come forward. He's very commanding, very big, physical centre half. Complements Worrell. That's why Forest have got such a good backline this season, because it's been a solid backline and not been disrupted. Normally, we chop and change. We had Jack Robinson last season. Sometimes play left back, Ben Osborne, Dawson. Robinson play centre half. Figueiredo come in. Ben Noan. There were so many, defenders that chopped and changed, but we've kept really the base of a back four unless we need to rest people or they've been injured. So it's good to see finally. And like I say, Figueiredo been solid. And if it hadn't been for everyone else performing so great, I think he might have been in contention to be at least a dark horse, or even better. But Warriors just shaded it for me. And we go on to the final Portuguese in this team at the moment. Thiago Silva pushes out the club record signing. That says it all. He come in, little known about him. I only thought there was one Thiago Silva and he plays for PSG, but now there's two, and I love this one more. But yeah, Thiago Silva was a great addition to the team. You know, again, like everyone really in this team, they've scored crucial goals. The goal against Cardiff, tough place to go. I think we was in a sticky patch as well. We'd not been playing the greatest, so to get there and get the win, especially as well, Thiago Silva's turned it around. I went to the Preston game at the start of the season and they did the player count on him, and it was the game where he had an absolute shocker. I remember watching it, I was thinking, you know, we've got a £30 million man sitting on the bench. What are you doing? But he's turned it around, and even if he'd had a rubbish season, Thiago Silva, I'd just put him in just for nearly ending Dwayne Holmes' career with that flip-flap when we beat Derby 1 at City Ground. So I'll always, try and recreate that now in the garden. But no, in all seriousness, he's had a good solid season again, and that's why João Carvalho can't get in the team. And last but not least, probably really, the players I've named have been probably our best starting 11 off, what we've seen this season. But that's why they have been so good. No one can shift them, and it's Sambasau. Not a controversial one, because obviously he has been fantastic, and his win ratio, our wins ratio with him and without him has been phenomenal. But just to watch him, he's been solid for us. We don't concede many when he's leading the pack. Midfield along with Ben Watson, decent championship. No duo in midfield. It's just his injuries, unfortunately. Like I say, if he'd not been injured, he probably would have been a lot higher up the list. Definitely would have been in contention to break into that, the front runners category, or at least definitely, would have been in the dark horse category where, he could have maybe got the win. I just think the injuries just doesn't do him justice. But again, another terrific signing, a great find, and hopefully now when football does return, he's back fit and he'll help us push on to cement that playoff spot, or who knows, even better. So yeah, they're my player of the season picks that I would have at the moment. It is so far, if I didn't mention it at the start of the video, I'm only doing this based, obviously, of course, if football does come back, then we'll have another 8, 9, 10 games to judge them. If football does come back and doesn't get voided, then I will do another video on, who if any of say Lolly, scores the next 9 games when football comes back, and then Samba got sent off for 2 of them games, and Cash had a shocker, then obviously Lolly would move up into the front runner category. But at the minute, this is my player of the season so far. And if you follow me on Twitter, you would see I did a poll. I made 17. That would have been an odd number. I made 16 players. People probably have either, obviously we got the front runners, dark horses, and then people who played well, but ultimately not as good as the rest. You voted in your numbers, which I was happy about. So congratulations to the all 25 people who had a say. But no, 25 was better than nothing. At least it wasn't one vote, and I just had to go off this. And if you would have seen, if you did follow me, that Matty Cash was your winner. People who voted for Matty Cash as their All Things Trentside player of the season so far. So congratulations, Matty, and well deserved. No, I got it wrong, really. I picked Ben Watson with top 5. He lost to Joe Loy in the first round, which was a bit of a shocker. If I had my own vote, I would have picked Ben Watson. So obviously, like I say, I'm going to move on to my player of the season so far, and Ben Watson is it. And I think just the only reason I picked Ben Watson is the fact of how he's turned it around. Like I say, this time last year, Ben Watson was nowhere near this team. Didn't want him nowhere near it. Martin O'Neill was gone. You knew as soon as O'Neill was gone, was going to get a new manager in who wasn't going to touch Watson. Like I say, he was either going to be like Murphy, not used, paid off, and contract terminated and off to a League One club. But to turn it around and play how good he has for Forest this season at the age he is, and be one of that first names on the team sheet, that for me is why he's my player of the season so far. He's just been a revelation. Popped up with some crucial goals, as I mentioned. He's led that midfield. He hasn't really missed many games. Captain's armband. He's captained that team to show, his leadership qualities is shone through. it was a tough decision, not when I was coming to it, but just because the fact is, I turned around and was like, I don't want Ben Watson near this team. You know, I want good Jack Colback to come back, and obviously would have took the other signings there. But I mean, I still take Jack Colback, him and Watson though. But I don't think they were the same player. So I think with Watson's age and how much I did like Jack Colback, I probably would pick Colback. But from this season, you know, it would be a tough decision. But now, you know, I would have drove, as people say when the club's saying, if Plymouth come in for Watson at the start of the season, before obviously all this happened, I would have, I won't say drive because I can't drive at the minute. I would have paid for the train fare myself to get him to Plymouth, because I wanted him not out of the club. That sounds like I don't back him, but you know, he just wasn't my cup of tea. You know, say some of the passes he made were poor. He didn't really, you know, bit ill-disciplined. You know, made a few silly fouls, needless fouls. You know, say some passes he tried just didn't work. He just, you know, he didn't like he had the legs for it. But fair play to Sabri, who's come in, you know, revitalised him, and like I say, I really hope he gets this new contract, and I'm glad he's made me eat my words, because, you know, it's always nice, you know, to have a player have a redemption story. You know, we've seen it at a few clubs, but to have it with Ben Watson, you know, as people call him the sweet ginger prince, and you know, forget Prince Harry. It's all about Ben Watson. You know, definitely, you know, he's my sweet ginger prince anyway. God, that sounds a bit weird, but anyway, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. So hope you've enjoyed the video. Again, this is my player of the season pick so far. So of course, like I say, if football does come back after the next night, like I think it's 8-9 games we had left, I will make another video on that. But if not, then hopefully, you know, Forest do a vote and someone does get it, because they've all had a fantastic season. One of them deserves to be crowned, if not the whole team. Just, you know, and that's a bit of a cop out to say that, but they deserve it. Someone deserves it, just to show like you've done a terrific job, you know. And hopefully continue it on next season. But yeah, so if you like what you see, you know, like, comment and subscribe, tell your friends about it, you know, trying to get this on the map. Hopefully when football comes back, you know, say things will be more in-depth about games, but at the minute I hope you like what I'm doing. You know, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you'll see the links in the description. You'll see, you know, you hit me up with any ideas, you know, if you think there's a video idea you want to see. I've got a few in the pipeline already, but you know, if there's another thing you want to see, then, you know, I'm by all means, you know, I'm happy, you know. Take positive feedback if you can give me somewhere how I can improve the channel. Again, I'm all ears. But yeah, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, that'd be great. Say like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends. And yeah, I'll speak to you all soon, guys. Videos will be more regular now, because obviously I know I've only uploaded twice in the past 2 weeks. Hopefully they will be coming more thick and fast in other videos. So you will hopefully get your little bit of Forest fix and a little bit of all things Trentside fix. Hopefully, you know, when I come back to Forest, I'll hear people talking about me now. But in all seriousness, you know, I appreciate the people who are taking the time out to view this, and you know, hopefully, like I say, it's just filling a little bit of a void while football's not here, and hopefully we'll be cheering the Reds back on the pitch soon. But stay safe, Reds, and hopefully I'll speak to you very soon.